What's going on, everybody? Shane here from Vulgar Display Gaming, and today I'm joined by Chuck, the drummer of Gates of Slumber. How you doing, man?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, I said it briefly before, but this new album is simply incredible. It's a return to form, and it's much anticipated. But going off of that, it's been 13 years since The Wretch. What inspired you guys to come back to this sound? And I know with the addition of Steve.
Yep.
Yep. How do you think that's this core group, all of you guys coming back together after such a loss, has added to this sound for this new album?
You know what, man? To circle back to the first question, which was how did it come about? It came about prior to COVID, around 2018. Carl, the singer, he had been asked a few times by Wolf, who throws the Doom Over Hammerberg Festival, if Gates would play. And of course, Carl had told him, there is no Gates. It's just me. Jason has passed, Bob has passed, and Clyde had passed. Having said that, though, Carl and I had maintained our friendship, but I had stayed close with Jason too as well. And I had been over there visiting Carl. He was laid up. He had tore his meniscus or Achilles. I can't remember which it is. But he was laid up, and he was telling me that Wolf, had reached out to him, and so he and I were both like, well, we're still around. I was on the first couple records, and we still like each other very much. Why don't we get together and play this festival, and we'll just play a bunch of material from the first couple records and the first demos and stuff like that. And it really did just kind of organically snowball from there, where we got together, rehearsed, and learned all the old material. Then obviously knew we needed to find a bass player. And Steve, who I also play with in Apostle of Solitude. Steve plays guitar and sings in Apostle as I do. And I was like, well, Steve's not a bass player per se, but he is a guitar player, and he's a very good guitar player. So I'm quite sure he could handle bass duties. And so we invited him along and started rehearsing. And sure enough, once you start rehearsing, you're, if you play yourself, you start playing some riffs, you just start noodling around, and next thing you know, a guy follows you, and then he says, well, wait a minute, let me add another riff to that. And then next thing you know, you've got the skeleton of a song. So we were like, well, why not just write a song? We'll play a new song, we'll play something new at this festival. And the next thing you know, we're writing several songs, and we're like, well, there are no rules. Why don't we just do another record? And there's nothing, we're the only ones that can decide whether we want to get back together or not. So we said, fuck it. We're already playing these handful of shows over here in Europe. Let's just make a record and do whatever the hell we want. No pressure. And that's what we did. So, like I said, it was very organic. It just, there was no grand scheme. It just kind of, we started with the one show, the one festival, and then when got invited to play a couple other shows around that date, and we were like, okay, well, we started writing a couple songs. Let's just write a record. And it took a little while because of COVID, obviously. But finally, it's out, and so far so good. People seem to dig it, which is nice.
It's a return to form. It's a much needed album in the Doom community, and I would like to say congratulations. Ride Up and Decibel was really good that you guys just had, as well as again, they reviewed it really well, and the opening page in the reviews.
Right.
I absolutely love this album. Again, my favorite track off the album is Embrace the Lie.
Oh, right.
It's even though that was the single, it's just, I feel like that song just, it touches with what's going on, not to go into everything,
Politics are.
Exactly.
You can relate to it, and which is nice. Yeah, you don't have to be on either side of the spectrum to relate to it.
Yes, I personally believe they're not looking after any of us anyway,
Right. Right. Yeah. But that's politics for you. I mean, if you believe that most politicians, not to be not to be cynical, but most politicians, they've gotten to where they are for a reason, and that's they've had to step on a few backs to do it. So don't be naive and think that their interests are purely altruistic, because they're not. But that's okay. I don't know that any of us truly are. You know what I mean? I guess we're all can be hypocrites like that. So
I mean, hey, that's a sense too. And going off of that right there, it's just Doom draws in, inspiration from usually like, topics of struggle, topics of like political strife, some of that, even from where you live. And, have you drawn anything from being in Indiana?
yeah, a little bit. I mean, we're without getting too political, we're mostly, pretty liberal minded guys, you know what I mean? Living in a red state. That's not to say that, we don't have any kind of conservative thoughts to us. I'm sure we do, compared to, someone who's left in California or left in New York. We might be considered a little more conservative, I guess. You know what I mean? But in our eyes, no, we're pretty free thinking, liberal minded, let people live their lives kind of guys. So yeah, we can definitely draw from that, because Indiana's a pretty red state, it's pretty conservative, and so we don't always agree with everything that goes down in the state, but so yeah, you can draw inspiration from that. I mean, like I said, it's I don't know. I think sometimes people boil politics down to black and white, and I think it's a little more nuanced than that. So yeah, to answer your question, I got off track. But to answer your question, yeah, we absolutely can draw from where we live. Yeah, because we live in a state that is pretty red. So yeah, it can give you some fodder for musical inspiration.
Oh, hey, absolutely. And it's just like I'm assuming this album has been somewhat therapeutic, return to form, coming back to it, And I believe even I was reading here too. I had it highlighted, but then I just lost it. I know, yeah, Carl wanted to go back to some of McCash's last recordings and everything. You guys wanted to kind of maybe pay homage to him in that way.
We did, and we are on this record. There's not any of McCash's material, but we have a split coming out, and I'll withhold who we're doing it with just for the moment, because they haven't said either yet. But it's with a known European band that we're going to do a split with, and on that split is going to have one of Jason's last songs that he had written, riffs wise. You know what I mean? He didn't write the lyrics to it, but so that's gonna be nice to do that for him. You know what I mean? To put that song together and record it in his memory. Yeah, so that's gonna be nice.
Yeah, I mean that's great that you're doing that. And again, like I feel like music is incredibly therapeutic. Coming back to this, I'm pretty sure you guys had all these ideas and everything in the back of your head when it came to writing this album. Did you have some sort of, I know you said it flowed naturally, like one thing after another, but was there any hurdles when it came to recording this new album?
Other than just really the biggest hurdles were just the pandemic. And our time to get together is pretty limited. We usually get together once a week, but Carl is his elderly father's caregiver, so he has to look after him. So we get together once a week, and that can be tough because his dad is in his 80s and needs round the clock care. So that's really the biggest hurdle for us is finding the time to work on staying sharp on what we have, and then of course getting into the studio. And we when it came to record, we did it over about I don't know about 4 days, something like that. Yeah, we just went in and banged it out pretty live, and then took a couple more days for vocals and overdubs, leads or something, and then mixing, and then we were in and out, and that's largely because that's how we have to do it. You know what I mean? Um, because of Carl's situation. But that's okay. You know what I mean? That's
it's
he's doing the
that's
right thing. He's looking after his dad, and that's what he's got to do, and that's what he's supposed to be doing. So
of course. And that's what adds to this incredible sounding track. It was like, oh shit, you only did it over 4 days. You made every
Yeah.
minute count pretty much.
yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. We went in. We worked really hard to knock it out really quickly, and get good takes and stuff like that. So any flubs or flaws that are on there, I'm okay with, because it's the real deal. The record is what we sound like. If you come to see us live, that's what we're gonna sound like.
Hey, and I'm all for that. And even more like onto the tracks and everything. I really like the Fog. I know it pays homage to like John Carpenter and everything.
Yes, sir.
And then like the Plague is like real dark and eerie too. Is there any other like kind of horror themes that you want to put into, say, a next song, right? What other movies you want to put into?
Yeah, you know what? We've got a song now. Right now it's not completely finished, but it is pretty close, as far as arrangement, and even some lyrics have been written, called The Hound, after H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh yeah.
The Hound. And we have other songs, Dweller in the Deep, about Dagon, and other H.P. Lovecraft stuff. And then of course, Stitch Back from Death, that's an older song. Frankenstein, The Awakening, Dracula, so monster themes and creature themes and things like that are definitely something that we do and will continue to do in the future. Yeah, and so the newer material will have some creatures in it, and I'm sure it'll have a little bit of a war and famine and
all the good Doom stuff right there.
Exactly. all that positive stuff that gets you up in the morning.
Exactly. I mean, it's just Doom is just a specific type of not to say it can't be uplifting sometimes,
Sure.
but
it's uplifting sometimes, I think, for a lot of people in a cathartic way.
Exactly.
To listen to this kind of stuff and express it, and then they can go on about their day and eat cupcakes and whatever.
I mean, like, I was listening to the new record yesterday again, and I was just like, holy shit, this is so good. And then you go back and listen, The Wretched, and I'm like, oh wow,
Right.
like, it's just, I feel like there's been new life, put into the band and everything, and I feel like you guys were really excited to get back to this return to form. But there was some really good riffing, there's some really good, like, solos, drum fills were amazing. Like,
Thank you.
I just feel like you got to keep going. I hope we don't have another 13 years before another record.
No, there definitely won't be. No, we've already got, like I said, we've got three or four songs for the for that split that we're going to do with the other band, and then got in the hopper, stuff that just needs to be hammered out. There's half a dozen ideas there too. Yeah, so as long as we can get together, we'll definitely keep on writing, and there's no plans to stop. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And now, speaking of like newer material, new things, I know you've been playing with your other project. Forgive me, I always forget the name.
Apostle of Solitude. Yeah.
Apostle of Solitude. So with that being said, how do you see the Doom scene? How do you think has evolved since like the last Gates of Slumber record to your current project? How do you see it as the state of Doom right now? At least American Doom, yeah.
Right. It's definitely grown. I don't know how, as far as like how it's evolved. I don't know. I guess some bands have gotten more. What's the word I'm looking for? I want to say experimental, but that's not. That wouldn't be accurate. More adventurous, like the pallbearer stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, I think
atmospheric kind of stuff. You're getting
there you go.
Like a more atmospheric Doom, where like I said, you guys are like that traditional sense of
Hmm.
doom. Still a lot of Sabbath worship there,
Right.
stuff like that.
Well, the
So
riff is king. Yeah,
yes, yes.
the riff is what's driving you. Not that you don't have choruses and you don't have hooks, because of course you do, but everything revolves around a hooky set of riffs. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Like
But yeah, yeah. So I think it's the scene has definitely grown some, and it's definitely matured some, and I think, but there are also bands though that, for every pallbearer, there are bands that say, nope, I want to go back to Cro-Magnon doom, where it's just power chords, and you know what I mean, and which is cool too. So
oh, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. Keep it simple, and it absolutely works. And
yep,
yeah, like I said, this entire album, it's a self-titled album too. Did you guys want to just be like, you know what, this is our reawakening? We're just gonna do it self-titled. Just keep
we
it
did. That was
simple.
Yes, that was on purpose to keep it simple and a reset kind of thing. Yeah, just it's kind of a reset of things. We had as far as like the album cover and stuff like that, we had talked about doing that like 20 years ago. About, man, we want a black on black embossed album cover. You know what I mean? And it
Hmm.
was originally, it was supposed to be that, and it is. The vinyl, I don't know if you have a copy of it or not, but the vinyl is
I
the
need to pick that up.
yeah, it's really sweet looking. It's embossed, so the Gates of Slumber is embossed on it, whereas the CD is just, flat, looks the same. But it was originally supposed to be black on black, without the white pinstriping
Hmm.
around it. But of course, that doesn't translate digitally very well, because if it was just all black, then it just looks like there's nothing. Uh, but anyhow, so yeah, that the black on black cover and the all black, going with the all black theme, and just self-titled. Yes, that was something we had thought about doing uh, for a while, and again, yeah, it's kind of like a clean slate, yeah, like you said, like a reawakening of it. So
And speaking of the awakening,
yeah,
how do you think you've evolved as a drummer playing, Doom from the awakening to this album now?
uh, God, I don't know that I have. I still play, I still play the same,
I mean,
still
yeah,
practice the
it's
same.
hard to really think about it. It's like, have I changed?
Yeah, yeah, I don't know that I have really. You know what I mean? I realize there's a ceiling to how good I can get. You know what I mean? And I'm okay with that. Um, so I try to just accept that, this is as good as I get, and I'm gonna just do what I do well and try to do that. So I don't know that I can't say that I've evolved too much. You know what I mean? I feel like I pretty much play the same as I did 20 years ago, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's
No,
honest.
absolutely not.
That's the God's honest truth. Is I try to get better. I try to, do the things that I do better, but I don't know that I can say I've evolved necessarily. I just play like I play, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm never gonna be uh, Mike Portnoy or do whatever. You know what I mean?
You know,
I don't approach it that way. I don't play like I wish I could, but my mind does not work that way.
I will say this then. How do you approach your drumming to go around the riff then? Or is the riff written first, or do you like, you know what, here let me see what you got, and you're writing around that, or?
Generally the riffs come first. At least for me, you know what I mean. When I'm writing, um, well, and I guess it applies to the other guys too, because they don't play drums at all. But um, when I go to write, like I write a riff, and then I kind of hear what drums are supposed to go with it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So when I write riffs that I could also play drums to, because that's what my mind does. My mind doesn't write riffs that call for drums. Like I said, that would be like some, really like a virtuoso kind of thing, because I don't write riffs that way. So therefore, my drums don't. Whenever I write drum parts, they don't sound like that either. I'm writing a riff to da 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 da. I'm probably gonna just do a backbeat, and do what I'm comfortable with, and then you know, go from there.
Hey, again, it doesn't need to be complicated,
No, it does not. It does not need to be complicated.
And it just works perfectly fine. Just hear the riff, give me some ominous drums, and like those good fills and everything.
Yeah, big fill. I like big drums, and again,
Yeah.
that's probably because that's what comes to me naturally is like the Bonham or the Vinny Appice or Tommy Aldridge or Tommy Lee. That kind of drumming. That's what comes naturally to me, and that's what I feel comfortable doing. So that's the kind of stuff I hear whenever I am writing something, or Carl's writing something, or Steve's writing something. Whenever they write something, that's what I'm going to hear to it. I'm not going to hear some complicated polyrhythmic thing to it.
Yeah. Again, to the writing style and everything. What do you guys like? Each get a chance to like put your own input on things. Like, hey, look, I wrote this. Oh shit, this is really good. Like, hey, let's pull this together. Let's pull that together and stitch that together.
Yeah, it is. We all try to make sure we give each other room to write because we're all three songwriters. So we all try to make sure that we give everybody their space to not only bring in full songs or nearly full songs, but also be open-minded to if you bring in something if another person wants to kind of twist it and mold it a little bit differently, be open to that. Let them do that. You know what I mean? That way everybody's gets a little input and everybody's happy with the final product. You know what I mean? So yeah, we all, knock on wood, we all get along quite well like that. There's not any fighting on, well, don't change that riff. You know what I mean?
No, you don't.
That's my riff. Which that did happen in the past. That's a much younger man's kind of way of looking at it in the past. You know what I mean? Where you brought in a song or a riff or whatever, and you were very adamant that it not be changed. Well, as you get older, you realize that sometimes the other guy's idea is more appropriate. You know what I mean? Or adds value to it, and don't worry about that your song got changed just a little bit. You know what I mean?
I mean, even when it comes to playing some of these older tracks live, have you guys thought about changing anything? You're like, you know what? Let's maybe change this one up a little bit, or we didn't like this part when we recorded this, but how about live? We change it up. Have you had any of that? Yeah.
We have done a little bit of that. More so though, just so that it fits better in a live setting, not necessarily.
Yeah, because there's a studio recording, and then there's a live setting. It's like, all right, we can't really do this live, but
exactly, yeah. So not necessarily because we didn't like a part or something like that, but more so because like, oh, we need to truncate that song a little bit, because if we don't, we're only going to get 3 songs in an hour set. You know what I mean? So sometimes you do have to kind of, okay, instead of playing that middle section 16 times, we'll play it 8 times and get in and get out or stuff. So yeah, we've definitely done stuff like that, and we'll continue to do stuff like that so that it serves for a better live set. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
But once it's written and down, I'm not a big proponent of changing stuff. Once you've put it down, recorded it, and released it that way,
yeah.
If you don't like it anymore, then just don't play it at all.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of, well, I didn't like that part, so we're going to completely.
No. Then it's like a waste. You might as well write a new song at that point,
right.
Yeah. And when it comes to like, all these things, going back to like even rehearsing some of these older songs, what's been the most surprising thing that's like gotten you most excited about playing this material again?
What's got me most? It just brings back a lot of good memories. So playing older material brings back a lot of good memories. And it's just fun. It's fun to hang out with dudes that you like, and fun to reminisce with them. So that's kind of been one of the pleasurable things is like if we play something from 20 years ago, it's fun to remember where you were when you first were writing it or playing it or whatever. And so it's like a trip down memory lane, which is nice. I like that.
I mean, hey, if it's not fun playing music anymore, why even play, right?
Right. No, I agree. Yeah, if you're not having fun doing it anymore, It's not a prison sentence. You don't have to keep doing it. You can stop at any time.
Exactly. And like, you've been around for a while just playing metal in general. Like, when you look back at how you started playing drums and everything, what advice would you give to, like, you know, a younger musician trying to get into this? Like, somebody watching this is like, man, I want to play drums, or I want to do, you know, I want to be in the music world.
First thing I say is if you want to do it, man. Don't let anything or anybody dissuade you from it. If it's something you want to do, you think you want to write music and play it for other people and record it and go out and hit the road and stuff like that, do it. Don't sit there on your couch going, "God, I wish I could." No, go do it. Go find some guys to do it, even if it's not the perfect. Um, a lot of guys, man, that I know and I think are awesome musicians, man. They're waiting for like this perfect uh, marriage between, you know, they got to find the perfect guitar player or the perfect drummer or whatever, the perfect singer. You know, I'm not going to start a project until I find the perfect people. Don't do that, because you're not gonna. That's, in general, that's not how it works. Just get out there, find guys that you like. First of all,
I think that's the biggest key.
yeah, find guys.
You all could suck, but you just need to like each other.
That's right. It is. Yeah, even if you all suck, as long as you like each other, you're probably gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'd be my advice. Is if you think it's something you want to do, go do it, man. Don't wait for the perfect opportunity, or, you know, or the perfect scenario. Just go out there and start writing, and then it'll come to you. You know what I mean? Obviously, when everybody first starts, you know what I mean, most of us aren't still playing with the same people that we very first started playing music with. It's like your first girlfriend or something. You're probably not marrying your first girlfriend. Probably not gonna be in a band, you know, 30 years later with the same guys that you started playing with, you know, 30 years ago. Having said that, Carl and I have been playing together since we were teenagers. But
sometimes you need your your musical sweetheart right there.
You do, yeah. You do, yeah. And when it works, it works. That's another thing too. Yeah, is if it works, it works, man.
Yeah.
Don't worry about if it didn't sound exactly like what you originally intended. If you find somebody that you work well with in music, just go with it, man, and let the music just go wherever it goes, and don't be so fucking uptight. How about that?
Right?
Yeah.
Chuck, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Please let us know what you have in the works. If there's anything the band wants to plug right now, what's going on?
Well, I would ask everybody to stay tuned as far as live shows and stuff go. We don't have anything booked right now because, as I said earlier, Carl is the primary caregiver for his dad, and until that situation is different, it's very hard for, you know, like I said, it's hard enough for us to get together and practice each weekend. We want to play shows and stuff like that, but right now that's just not in the cards at the moment. But it will be eventually. We know that. So please understand that, and be on the lookout for. We have another release coming out, hopefully within the next year. We're ready to go in and record our songs. We just got to talk more with the other band and see when they're ready. And all that stuff takes time. You know, even if we recorded it today, it wouldn't come out for 6 months probably. You know what I mean? So, but it will. We'll have a split coming out with another band. Well, I'll just say it's from Europe at the moment because they haven't released anything yet. So, and yeah, and if you dig the Gates, you might dig my other band, the Apostle of Solitude. And Steve has another band who is in the Gates, also plays in Apostle of Solitude, and he has another band called Devil to Pay. So go check those guys out too. And appreciate everybody's support and spreading the word, man. It means the world. It really does.
Hell yeah, Chuck, it's been an absolute pleasure. Again, Gates of Slumber, their self-titled new full length is out now. Please, everybody go pick it up. If you love Doom, this is one of the best Doom releases of the year.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Until next time, everybody, take care.
Peace.